let's get to it.
Yes. This is why we do what we do. But I do, when you say that, I do flash back to last year, and it felt like all of last year we were just waiting for the season to be over, right? So it's like, well, which one do we want here? There's a lot of unknowns.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start to get answers to those questions. And I think we're getting some real answers on Saturday about where this football team is. And there's a lot to, it's like Christmas morning. There's a lot to unpack, and we don't know how good the gifts are yet. But we're going to find out over the next few weeks.
We are going to find out relatively soon. You're not going to get a whole lot of uncertainties when you partner with Monticello Bank. They've been proud presenting partners here at 11 Personnel for a couple of years now, and they've been in business in Kentucky for more than 125. They've got locations all across the Commonwealth, and they've been in business for so long because at Monticello Bank, it's where people matter. They're going to get you the best rates, whatever you're looking for, whether it's open up a home equity line of credit, check out their HELOC special, or you just want to do a little saving here or there, maybe a little money market action, maybe a little CD. CD who? Monticello Bank will have you covered. They are members of FDIC, equal housing lenders, and proud presenting sponsors of 11 Personnel. Mr. Luckett, how was Brad White today? Oh, shout out Monticello Bank, repping the cut. Brad have a lot of riveting stuff to say on Wednesday night?
No, it was mostly kind of repackaged in a different way, kind of version. We did hear that the plan is still to kind of be strength in numbers defense.
Mm-hmm.
I need to unlock my iPhone for something. But yeah, I mean, I think they're going to play their depth. They're going to play guys. You know, they have 40-something scholarship players on defense, Nick. They added 8 transfers, but they got more stability on that side of the ball. I think we're going to see rotation, obviously a defensive line, a heavy rotation. I think you're going to see 3 or 4 linebackers play, 3 outside linebackers I think are going to play, 3 cornerbacks are probably going to play, and then the 2 safeties, and then the 2 or 3 guys at nickel. You're going to see a lot of guys, and he kind of confirmed that, and kind of the same kind of sentiment from Mark Stoops. The strength of the team has to be the team.
Love that. Standard is the standard. The strength of the team is the team. Strength in numbers. I will say one thing that was a nice little change of pace is it felt like Zach Calzada acted like a little bit of a starter at the podium, and they kind of treated him like a starter when talking about him at the podium. So that was kind of nice. Talking about Toledo as a faceless opponent. As soon as I heard that, I thought of the dude in Game of Thrones who just keeps ripping his faces off and changing people with Arya Stark. So that was nice. Hadn't thought about that in a while. But I don't think, we're getting anything that's going to drastically change our opinion on this team from Monday until kickoff. Now, Luckett, you were getting your teeth pulled on Monday.
Literally.
Yeah. How are we feeling? Do you feel lighter on your feet? Are we a little swollen? Did you lose ball knowledge now that you don't have any more wisdom in your teeth?
I don't think I lost ball knowledge. I'm sore. Gums are sore. Headaches have been a thing. Not being able to eat normal diet has not been fun. A lot of mashed potatoes. I rediscovered chocolate pudding, Nick. It was just as good as when I lost chocolate pudding. So that's been kind of fun. But other than that, haven't loved it. I think I'm getting through the worst of it now, so hopefully it won't be here much longer. But yeah, we're fighting through it right now.
That
I hated I had to miss you all on Monday. People were asking me how it was going, and I was like, well, I know you didn't listen because I wasn't on there. But can't wait to get back there with Van on Monday. But yeah, hopefully we're talking about a big win.
Pudding is one of those things that I feel like it is very much like you eat it when you're a child, and then you don't eat it for a long time, and then you get old and you start eating the pudding again. Everything comes full circle sort of deal. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. Maybe we do need more pudding. Is chocolate the best pudding out there?
See, my kind of pudding take is, Nick, the time I would have pudding growing up wasn't necessarily at home. It was at Mr. Gaddy's.
Oh, you get the
at the
big old vat.
buffet.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's where I would get pudding. That's really why my pudding, that's my pudding history. That's why my pudding experience stops. So like,
That or like a family sort of lunch or like a Sunday sort of deal. Like that feels like a big dessert that would be in a tub. Um, my my mother-in-law does dirt cake. That's kind of the thing kids love because you get to crumble up the Oreos and mix it in with the whipped cream. So that's kind of like pudding. But I was also a big sucker for the banana pudding with the vanilla wafers. Like I don't know if vanilla wafers are good by themselves, but with some banana pudding, like hell yeah. Thank you, sir. I'll have another.
I can't
Let's
confirm
go.
that vanilla wafers are good by themselves. You don't need banana pudding, but I know that's a
It's a
popular
whole
thing people have
it's
to
a whole
have.
lot better though. Here's another thing too. Who decided to call bread pudding when it's not even remotely close to a pudding? It's great, but it's not pudding at all.
Well, that's like the thing with peanut butter pie. Like this
Oh
is not
yeah,
like any other pie I've seen. This doesn't
man.
have pie crust per se. It does on the outside, I guess.
When they do the chocolate with it and make it like a Reese's one, that's the real stuff. And I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I'm just gonna be
outstanding.
making you hungry because I know like I remember getting my wisdom teeth out and just like hating everybody who was eating real food. Like, screw you. I'm tired of this crap. So we can just the food talk for a moment. Let me ask you about the depth chart because you didn't get to get your depth chart takes in on Monday. You did get to fire away at KS Board, but you didn't get to talk on the KSR football podcast. So Mr. Luckett, were you surprised by anything? Is there anything from that depth chart or what Mark Stoops said on Monday that you're like, all right, good to know going into week one?
Yeah, I think obviously the what everyone's saying, the returners, like we knew Ty Bryant, they were kind of experimenting with him, but don't expect starting safety per se. Typically, the starting safeties they put out there, Nick, are kind of like the freaks if they return punts, like Ed Reed,
Mm-hmm.
maybe Caleb Downs returns punts, I believe, for Ohio State. Like he might be in contention for the number 1 overall pick. Minka Fitzpatrick, I believe, returned punts when he was at Bama.
That's right. Yeah. I'm trying to think of some others. I
Sean
mean,
Taylor, I'm pretty sure he returned punts when he was
yeah.
at Miami.
I think of corners too, like Dion returned some, a roll and Samari roll, Antrell roll. I feel like both of the rolls did at Miami.
Yeah, so it's Charles Woodson. It's not
Yep.
something you see very often. So that's interesting. And I'm interested to see how just that goes with Ty Bryant back there. But obviously, that's a guy they trust a lot. And then, like, Quaysheet Scott is the number 2 kick returner.
Good
Did not
athlete.
expect to see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of pulled his stats from high school, but he had some freaky stats. High school, like 700 and something receiving yards on like 28 grabs as a senior in high school, plus like 600 rushing yards and a couple return touchdowns. So I thought that was interesting that he was over there over like specifically like guys like Jamarian Wilcox and Jason Patterson, where that's kind of an easy way to get them on the field and get them touches is in like
Didn't
kickoff return.
didn't Patterson wasn't he in on some of those like returns last year? Or am I crazy?
I
I,
think he
I
might have maybe an up back or something, but he redshirted, so he only played 4 games.
okay. Yeah. Got you. Um I to your point about Quaysheet Scott, that's going to be a fun snap count on Sunday just to see how they divvy it out with the nickels. Going back to what you said about just the defense in general, seeing the snap counts, I'm going to be fascinated by. Um, I also, it kind of goes back to what we talked to previously about the quarterback, what they're electing to talk about, who they want to talk about, and whatnot. I found it fascinating that they were willing to include Quisenberry, Cam Miller and DJ Miller, the freshman wide receivers, and then even throw in Darren Stride and Jaden Clark, who those guys are not going to play. That maybe if push comes to shove in a blowout or something like that, they'll play their 3 or 4 games or whatever it may be. But I found it fascinating that they were willing to include those guys, but we're just like, we're just going to give you Dowdell and McGowan. We're not even going to play this game with any of the other running backs. Maybe something, maybe nothing, but I thought that was at least worth mentioning.
Well, it just kind of matches up with how the whole last month plus has gone. Ever since, I would say, media days, they have been all in on Seth McGowan and Dante Dowdell. And there's never been any strain away from that.
No, you're exactly right. And I thought it was funny, talking to Calzad, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just excited to see them as a live game setting as you guys are." So that's I think that's where we're all at. We want to see how they pass muster while they're trying to get tackled by the opponents. So I'm fired up. I'm ready to get rocking and rolling. Mr. Luckett, are you ready to dive into our Toledo preview ahead of week 1?
Yeah, I think so. Let's do it. Do it to it, Lars.
All right. First things first, fun fact about Toledo. Did you know they have a rocket on their campus, and it is aimed directly at Bowling Green, their arch rival, the Falcons?
I mean, that would make sense. They are the Rockets.
Yeah. But it's I know a lot of schools have the statues, but there's like, yeah, we're going to aim this sucker at the coordinates of Bowling Green just for good measure.
Yeah, they're not that's like their big rival. They're not big fans of the Falcons.
Yeah, not whatsoever. They used to play in the Glass Bowl, although I
Still
don't. They still do play in the Glass Bowl?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It's the other one, the Rubber Bowl. That's the one that's discontinued. And I believe that was where Kent State played. They got rid of the Rubber Bowl.
Yeah, Glass Bowl's still a thing.
Kentucky scheduled to go there in 29. Luckett, you think that road trip's gonna stay on the schedule?
I've got a hunch that says we won't be making a road trip to the Glass Bowl, unfortunately.
Gosh, I wish we could, because part of me really wants it to be an actual Glass Bowl just for kicks and gigs, I know that's not obviously going to be the case.
Yeah, this isn't a 1980s Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Hate to disappoint you.
I think the thing when you look at Toledo throughout the years, though, it is, I mean, a lot of folks, when they see the Maction opponents, they just kind of scoff like, oh, Kentucky padding their stats against the MAC, blah, 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 blah. I mean, the resume of coaches that have come through this place, pretty incredible. Gary Pinkel, ever heard of him? College Football Hall of Famer. He was the guy who replaced Nick Saban. Ever heard of him, Luckett? But Pinkel replaces Saban, and he's the program's all-time winningest coach. Well, Jason Candle, he replaced Matt Campbell, who just got a big win at Iowa State last weekend. And now Jason Candle is one win away from surpassing Pinkel as the school's all-time winningest coach. I think the thing that stands out to you most when you just talk about Toledo is their consistency. Like, this is a league that just kind of it is constantly in flux. There's some programs like Akron who are kind of proverbial in the cellar, but then like Miami of Ohio might have a 2-win year and then they might have a 10-win year. I mean, it kind of seesaws so rapidly, and I think the thing that's most remarkable is that they've been able to still do it in the portal era. Quinyon Mitchell, when he got drafted in the first round by the Eagles last year, Saban was like, he was our number one guy in the portal. He just never went to the portal. Like, their ability to retain some of their talent, it's impressive. And I mean, even Bush Hamden, he singled out one of their cornerbacks this year, Avery Smith, as a guy who he was kind of surprised stuck around. They have the highest returning production in the MAC. And I think you just got to kind of tip your cap at Jason Candle for what he's built. I'm just honestly like it. Whenever we do this coaching carousel thing, I'm surprised that people just haven't gone after this guy more aggressively in the past, or I guess the right job hasn't opened up. But it feels like you know how you get those kind of flavor of the months, like Billy Napier was at Louisiana and John Summerall is going to be. Feels like Candle's kind of been that for the MAC, It just hasn't quite happened yet for him.
Yeah, I think like go Matt Campbell, Tim Beckman, who got the Illinois job. There was one more in there than Gary Pinkel and Saban. These
Tom
coaches just
Amstutz was the other.
Tom Anstutz was the other.
That's
Like
the
all
one
these
guy that
guys.
didn't last. Yeah.
Yeah, all these guys get hired. Thing with Toledo, to my knowledge, is they've got a banana stand or two on campus.
Oh, good.
So they've got a little more investment than these MAC schools. So they're able to pay some players to keep them there. And so that's why they kind of rise above the rest of that league and why they're always at the top. I think the reason Candle's still there is probably he hasn't won enough for the resources. He's probably underachieved a little bit to this point. Even with some of the 11-win seasons they've had, he's only won 2 MAC titles in 10 years at Toledo. And you could probably argue all those years he had the best roster in the league. So that is probably the thing that's kept him there. But he's been with this program for 16 years now. He will eventually, I would assume, get a big job. And this might be the year that they get out of there. Like they've got some, I think, legitimate talent on this football team. I think they might have a couple draft picks on this football team. They've got a quarterback who was originally a Georgia Tech signing out of high school, but has been at Toledo for 4 years. They've got a bunch of returning offensive linemen. They've got a bunch of intriguing pieces on defense, a really good receiver. They did some good work in the portal, and they have a really, really manageable schedule. So for them, like if they win this game, like they're going to feel like they have a clear path to the playoff, like 13-0 and getting into the playoff if they can win this game. So just from that aspect, I think if you're Kentucky, that's a little scary. Now Toledo's been known to stub their toe, but this feels like a big circle game for them, and Kentucky needs to be ready, I think, for that.
You heard Mr. Luckett right. I mean, there's got to be one group of 5 school. I know a lot of assumption, like what you think of a Boise or in the past when Caden Salter was at Liberty, who's to say that a MAC school can't be a G5 representative in the college football playoff? It's certainly possible. It's going to be a big game on Saturday at Kroger Field. And if you don't have tickets yet, dude, what are you waiting for? Download the Game Time app right now. Stop messing around. Just download the Game Time app. Go check out your seats. There's going to be some available. It's going to be beautiful weather at the Krog on Saturday. Luckett. Walking outside in the mornings, it's felt like football weather. It's not going to be your sweltering hot Labor Day weekend in Lexington. It's going to be amazing. You need to be there in the stands watching the Cats and the Rockets. So go ahead, download the Game Time app and take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. All your fees are included. You can check out your seat before you buy it. You can even see your vantage point, your view, right? They can stick you in the seat so where you know what the game is going to look like from your seat. So go ahead, download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ON3 for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use redeem code ON3 for $20 off. ON number 3. $20 off your first purchase. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today and don't miss any of the action this college football season. Here's the other thing too, Luckett. Looking at this week 1 slate, if I'm just average Joe college football fan and I don't know, Atlanta, Syracuse, Tennessee might get a little wild. Where is the Virginia Tech, South Carolina? Is that in Charlotte?
It's in Atlanta.
No, that's in Atlanta. We got 2 Atlanta games?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, just go on. Get tickets to those games. Easy breezy. Use Game Time and go. If you're looking for some picks, we're going to rip off some picks each year on Thursday. I know it's a little bit more crowded on the YouTube, the KSR YouTube channel, but shooting for around 2:30 or so. We'll each share 3 picks apiece. I got to have some self-control in this week 1, Luckett. You know how it is. Like you see all the numbers, and I feel like Scott Van Pelt to an extent too, because I love all the dogs. I'm like, give me the points.
You're not fooling me, Nick Rush. You're just not. I'm not falling for it. Like, yeah, you can sit here and say it. Maybe you're trying to get some people off the scent, but you're not fooling me. I'm going to look
I
over it next to you, and you're going to be scrolling for a good 10
unders.
seconds through my bets tab.
Yeah, I see. I, I say it, but I'm going to be smashing them. Probably going to play some unders. We're going to share some of those picks on the Pigskin preview tomorrow on Thursday. But right now, we're previewing Kentucky Toledo. We're over on BetMGM. Luckett, it got all the way down to 7.5, then hop back up to 9.5. Where, I guess, like, where do you see a inherent like if you're Jason Candle and you're saying, hey, this is how this is a strength we can use to attack Kentucky. What are you looking at? What are you pointing to?
Uh, yeah, I think for Toledo, like, this is a brand new Kentucky team. A lot of new pieces. Like, let's get out on them early, right? See how they handle being down in a football game early. I think you read everything, right? Hi, Jason Candle, if you're watching this podcast,
Yep.
or Jason Candle's assistant assigned to watch
Right.
media do Kentucky research. Like everything they read is about Kentucky wanting to run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. So selling out to stop the run, forcing Kentucky to throw over the top without Calzada, and ultimately, I think this game comes down to, like, on paper, Kentucky should have the trench advantage.
Should.
Toledo's offensive line struggled last year. They get 3 starters back. One was a freshman tackle last year who should be better this year in a second year. Cole Rett, I believe is his name. They added a center from Pittsburgh. Terrence Moore started 10 games at Pittsburgh but didn't start for Pitt last year. So they're kind of rebuilding on offensive line. Defensive line, they lost Darius Alexander, who was a 3rd-round pick. They lost former Kentucky defensive tackle Kavon Butler, who played a role. Now, they had guys who played, Nick, but these are guys that were in, like, rotational roles. Now they're stepping up to be starters. So, like, how are those guys in a starter role, and how is their depth now? It was maybe a really good situation for them last year. So that's a question mark. So Kentucky should win this game. Like, that's where they should have the biggest advantage. What I would be worried about is, like, what if Kentucky comes out and they can't really run the ball?
Yeah.
The offensive line is not imposing its will. And then what happens if, Toledo's big bugaboo last year was their run game. Their traditional run game stunk. Like, they could not, like, line up and run the ball with a running back. They were 128th, I believe, in rushing success rate. They stunk running the football. What happens if they're able to come out and they're able to run the football again like they've normally been able to do under Candle? And they have a back and Chip Trainum who looks like a guy who's going to be run for 1,200, 1,300 yards like a lot of their backs have done under Candle. That would be my concern. If you come out and we get into the second quarter and it's like, well, Kentucky hasn't taken over this game in the trenches yet, that would be I think my biggest concern.
It's if Toledo can stop the run and then they can run on you, which, Kentucky's run defense, like, that's something that we have to see. I've seen Afari and Rayner cover sideline to sideline. Now, how well they fit the A gaps, they're going up against a guy he's in theory tackled last year. Who knows how much tackling they actually did? But there's that scenario's on the table. It certainly is. I think that's the part. Like, if you're looking at, if you were to kind of line them up, like it's the YMCA, and we're all having to stand across each other like it's the basketball game. The one where Toledo has an advantage is that secondary against Kentucky's wide receiver group, because what do you actually believe you have out of those Kentucky wide receiver room? Everybody from Toledo is back, including Avery Smith, Emmanuel McNeil Warren. Like, these are ball players.
Yeah.
Smith last year was second in the MAC, had 2 picks, 14 passes defended. They led the MAC in interceptions. This is a very havoc-making team. I think one of Smith's picks was against Mississippi State. So, like, you don't want to have to force Zach Calzada to play hero ball right away. I think on the other side of it too is it's like one of their strengths is they got some good wide receivers. They brought in the kid from Northern Illinois. Let's see, what is his name here?
Trayvon
Trayvon
Rudolph.
Rudolph. Yeah, Trayvon Rudolph, Junior Vanderos, caught a lot of balls for him last year. That should be a nice test for this Kentucky secondary. I feel like if they can shut down this passing attack, I'll feel pretty confident about where this defense stands going into the fall.
Yeah, I just think if they're able to get Toledo in passing downs, I really do think Kentucky's pass rush is going to be able to make an impact in this football game. You just have to get in a situation where you can do that. Toledo really came out and kind of, if you go back and watch that Mississippi State game, it was like schematically like Mississippi State was not prepared. Like that was, when I went back and watched that was really highly disappointing, I think, for Mississippi State. They just seemed like schematically not ready at all for that game. And then Toledo's defense, which is like this 4-2-5 kind of quarters, cover 4 heavy defense, it's kind of built to take away spread offenses. So like it's kind of built to stop like that Art Briles version of Mississippi State offense. That's kind of what they want to take away.
And that's
where I think
what
Kentucky,
they see a lot in the MAC, Yeah.
But that's not what Kentucky runs. Kentucky's going to try to, run downhill and play in 12 personnel and be like, are you really going to keep your nickel in the game here? Okay, we're just going to run it right at you. That's what Kentucky wants to do. So from that, like just kind of matchup wise, I think Kentucky can give them their defense some problems. But defensively, I think it really just comes down to you got to take the run game away. If you take the run game away, I think they can be a bit flawed on offense. And with some of their offensive line issues, I think you could give them trouble with your rush. But again, I do worry. Last time they came in here, Nick, they jumped out to a 7-0 lead. Really had success on Kentucky early before Kentucky really flipped that game over in the second half. We don't know how this team is going to react if they get down early, right? We just don't know. So that would concern me if Kentucky got in the hole early.
Was this you shared your ATS trends for Kentucky in these games? Was this the one that they didn't cover? Was that Toledo in 19?
No, they did cover that. They won by 14 and it was 11-point spread.
Okay. Because I don't know, man. I feel like this will be our 13th Mark Stoops opener. A lot of openers have a very similar feel where it's you're a little bit rusty and it takes a minute, but then once that thing gets humming, the dam kind of breaks and then it's off to the races. I feel like we'll get something similar unless they do have a lot of success immediately in the run game. I mean, who's to say, not just but like that we can't see another Boom Williams sort of 75-yarder on the first touch of the game. I don't think that'll be the case, but would it shock you if they had some quick chunk runs where, you're not getting hit until you're 7 yards down the field? It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if Kentucky was able to run the ball effectively early on. And I think that's the key to early success. It's just how much are they willing to sell out? And then, that first time that they do sell out and then Kentucky takes a shot over the top, is Calzada actually going to put it on the money or is he going to throw it 85 yards over the guy's head? Right? Like, doesn't that feel like the start of every one of these games? The first time the quarterback gets thrown,
to me,
goes at 100 miles an hour.
To me, just how how does a receiver rotation shake out? Who, specifically in opening script, who do they make a concerted effort to get the football to? Obviously, we know the backs are going to be, but is it Kendrick Law? Do you try to draw something up for Macklin? How does that kind of shake out? I did think Bush Hamden, of anything said this week, kind of had the most interesting comment. Was basically someone asked him, if y'all have anything to prove, and he was like, "Yeah, everyone's got something." They were asking about one position group. It's like everyone's got something to prove. I've got something to prove.
Yeah, which
is kind of what we talked about on this show over the offseason, was how big I think this year is just for Hamden.
Yeah,
play caller. Last year was bad.
Suboptimal.
And Washington didn't end probably how he wanted it to. That 2-year stint there. So it's a huge year for him. And you look at like he's got to handpick the personnel on this offense in a lot of ways. And he's working now with two assistants he's got direct relationship with, right? Like with Derek Shea and Damian Washington, work with both of them at Missouri. And so like it's a big year for him. I you have to I think that he kind of acknowledged that and knows that. And so we'll see what it looks like. I think just I wouldn't be surprised if we see Kentucky come out and pass it early. Because like all they've talked about is run, 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 run. And you know what?
Ooh.
Toledo's going to be trying to stop early. So maybe you can, find a couple big plays early in the pass game to get on the board. But overall, we're going to learn a lot. Like defensively, they're going to play a lot of guys, just how the pieces fit. We're going to learn about these trenches on both sides. Like what did David, like to me, I'm excited to see what David Gusta and Mike Humphrey-Grace look like. To me, you can make the argument, those were maybe two best players they signed in the portal. And they have an advantageous matchup, I believe, in this game. So like, can they kind of impose their will? And then offensively, just what does the line look like? Because this should be a front that they should be able to lean on and push around.
All right, here's a question. Do you think Gleason, the quarterback, is good? Like, I remember when we had Brett Gabbert come in here, and there was you could see there was something there, right? Like he had a little spitfire to him, not the most consistent, but like could put it there. Is Gleason good enough to show some hero ball? Because honestly, like what we're doing is the easy thing. It's, hey, remember when Nick Mullins, like he was an awesome quarterback and then he went and showed it against Kentucky? Like, is Gleason good enough to do something like that?
He's not as good as Nick Mullins, but he has some talent and he's shown that he can put the offense on his back a little bit and it makes plays. Like he's threw for over 300 yards in multiple games last year. He made some plays against Pitt, lit up Mississippi State. So he's shown it and he does a good job, I think, in sack avoidance, Nick, getting away for pressures and extending plays. He's a threat and kind of, I wouldn't say necessarily as an explosive runner, but 3rd and 2, they're not afraid to run QB power with him.
Right.
If you watched Iowa State, Kansas State, Rocco Beck, like they just like when they got in trouble a little bit, they just ran the quarterback in short yardage, and that's what Toledo can do with Gleason if they have to. Where he struggled last year, I think, was with turnover-worthy plays. He fumbled the ball 15 times in 13 games last year.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
Plus 8 interceptions, and it probably should have been more. So that's where I think he could find some issues. And if you could take away the balance that they want to have, then I think the turnover percentage, I think that gets ramped up. If you're able to pass rushing, you're able to force him maybe into playing out structure and maybe making some mistakes. That's where I think could be Kentucky's biggest advantage.
Well, and
with him, but I would say he's in between. If you're just giving me those two, he's in between Gabbert and Mullins. Like I don't think he's going to be an NFL draft pick, but
right.
He's huge, 6'4", 245. He's got a good arm, and he's a little bit mobile. Like he can do some things.
Some Nick Fitzgerald to him. When was the last time you heard that name? A nice little blast from the past.
I would say not as good a runner as Fitzgerald, but a better passer.
Yeah. Fitzgerald he was built for this guy needs to move to tight end.
He was a tight end who played at a time where defenses probably hadn't totally adjusted to how to defend some of the Dan Mullen stuff they were running. Where I think if you put him in like at SEC now, I don't know if he would have stuck at quarterback anywhere.
Right. But
it worked at Mississippi State, and then Moorhead came there, and he just
wasn't.
It was
work.
Like this doesn't work.
Yeah. You mentioned the turnovers, and I know we say this like our jobs. You can just show up every week, and whoever takes care of the ball. I feel like that is the, especially if you're like on a big national show. If you just say whoever takes care of the ball is going to win the game, like that can go a long way because it's very true. But Mark Stoops talked, like he mentioned, because a lot of going in the week one, what the kind of the heart I wanted to get at when talking to these guys this week is just dealing with the uncertainty, because that's what we're dealing with, right? So like, how do they process it and how do they try to prepare those guys? And we saw in week 0 just how sloppy the game can be when you haven't played in a while. And Stoops is like, yeah, you want to kind of beat him over the head, but you can't beat him too hard over the head when it comes to ball security. But their turnover margin was awful last year. It was -7. Like, of course they were 4-8. They were 14th in the SEC, 110th in college football. And Luckett, it wasn't like they had bad fumble luck or anything either. 6 fumbles lost is like, that's one every other game. That's pretty good. 17 total interceptions, worse than the SEC. Like, can't do that. So, I know last year Bush preached about like, hey, it's okay to go 4-iron off the tee, just hit it down the middle. Like, you could tell there's been a lot of self-talk with Calzada of like, hey, completions, we're going to value them. We don't have to do everything the hard way. I would love to see the routine be the routine in this game. Now, how routine can it be? Like, ideally, Bush is getting some of these guys, these receivers who, I don't know, just some quick, like, hey, here's a slant. Just beat your guy and go get 8 yards, or a quick, like, just some basic, easy things. Like, that's the part that is, the offense made everything look really, really hard last year. Let's make some things look easy and be sticky on the ball. And you know what? Maybe, not just give it away to them twice a game, right? Because that's the recipe for disaster is you give Toledo more opportunities and they take advantage of those.
Yeah, I lost you there for a second. Internet being a little funky here, but we're back. Nick, basically, like since COVID-19, so after the COVID-19 season, Kentucky's ranked sub 70 in turnovers lost. Twice they finished sub 100, 2021, 2024.
Not good.
May I remind you, that's not even those numbers aren't really even including play-by-play data. Like, they also play slow as Christmas on offense, right?
Yeah.
So, like, if you were going to do like turnovers by play, like they have one of the worst numbers offensively in college football the last 4 years. And basically, like, playing how they want to play, you can't win games. Like, part of the reason Vanderbilt had the year they had last year is because they had 8 turnovers in 13 games.
Yeah, I think Pavia's first turnover was against Kentucky in week 6.
Yeah.
I mean,
so like, you're going to turn the ball over, and you can't play offense. All right, let's not turn the ball. Thinking about let's not turn the ball over every play. And there's got to be, you got to be aggressive in certain situations.
mm-hmm.
But that's been a big issue for them.
Yeah.
And so they've got to get that cleaned up a little bit. And they also need the defense to force some more takeaways. But first of all, they got to do a better job of protecting the rock. You cannot, like, they got away with it in 21. Like, remember, they had an awful turnover margin that year.
Yeah.
And it really didn't burn them. But I think you can say it's burned them the last 3 years. Like, they've got to get that straightened out.
There's a couple other things I wanted to mention about Toledo before moving on. Excuse me. Their return man, pretty good. Something to keep an eye on. I know we mentioned Kentucky having a new returner, but Rudolph was a freshman All-American returner at Northern Illinois and is exceptional. So, yeah. Just, it's another way you can get beat, Mr. Luckett. You give up some silly special team stuff.
Yeah, but Aiden Laros, his kickoff rate was pretty excellent last year, if I remember correctly. As I'm pulling it up right now, Aiden Laros had a 65.31 touchback rate. So not outstanding, but pretty good. Like, if you can get something similar to that, you should be okay there. And Rudolph, most of his stuff came early in his career before like injuries started to pile up on him. And so we'll see. But yeah, that's something I think you definitely have to be concerned about. And any like anytime. You don't. This just go. This goes kind of with turnovers. You don't want to give up cheap scores. And for Kentucky overall and the overall construct, they want to win, right? Ball control offense, shorten games, bend but don't break defense. And a big part of that complementary style is winning field position, right? And you still possessions by not turning the ball over and then getting the turnover. So like those are areas you need to win. And so special teams plays a big role in all of that.
So let's not mess this up. Let's keep the special teams train rolling, rocking in the right direction. Maybe we'll get a Jacob Cowie appearance on Saturday, 12:45 kickoff on the SEC Network. Taylor Zarzor, Matt Stinchcomb, and Alyssa Lang on the call. I guess that means, are we still doing the Peter Burns pregame show? Is that still a thing?
I don't think so. They didn't say in their release. They didn't say that they were doing it again.
I guess they just realized we can show another game or something else until I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, but it is correct. 12:45.
I would assume they'll just be in studio and they'll just do an extension of at Saturday SEC. What's the show called? SEC Nation.
Yeah. Right. But 12:45, Zarzor, Tennessee Titans play-by-play man now.
That's right.
So he's getting a little extra
and
duties.
big golf guy on Sirius.
Yeah. Which we got Ryder Cup teams like it. Did you?
When we're on the way to South Carolina, we'll be probably hearing Taylor Zarzor call the action there at Bethpage.
Did you want Keegan to pick himself?
I think he did the right thing.
It's probably best for team morale that that's not a thing.
I think he did the right thing.
They probably will respect his decisions exponentially more.
My thing on the Ryder Cup too, Nick, it's kind of like getting mad about the 6th round pick in the draft. Your team, like, you're going to win the Ryder Cup based off what Scotty and Bryson do, more than likely than not. Like, Scotty and Bryson need to win their matches. That's how you win a Ryder Cup.
Yeah, I mean,
the top of your roster has to carry you. Maybe you can steal a point here or there, here at the bottom roster, but a lot of these guys are going to be sitting out certain events. And then, when you get into match play, that's where it matters. And then, like, I look at the bottom, like Cantlay and Xander are good match play partners, and Burns and Scheffler were good, and Burns was good in the last Ryder Cup. So it makes sense.
Although I'm not going to lie, there is a little bit of hometown bias in me to see Justin Thomas get on there. But I do like that just some people can be good at this random team event. Like, what should make you better at this than any other round of golf?
Well, like Kevin Kistner had a reputation for a long time as being just this unbelievable match play player, even though he was probably, sub 50 to 75 kind of player on the world rankings. But he was just unbelievably awesome in match playing. It got him on a couple Ryder Cup teams.
It's weird. It's weird how that works. That's how if I'm playing around with friends, that's the way to do it. Just hole by hole, like 2v2 match play. That's fun. That's good, clean fun.
Yeah, alternate shot. Yeah. Best ball.
Yeah. Because, like, you can have one blow-up hole, and that's the whole round, and that's so fun. But if you lose one hole, you just lost a hole. And then you get those putts there at the end where, it gets a little shaky. Like, that's fun. That's good, clean fun. Or you don't even have to putt. You can just say, if you miss this, I don't have to putt. Like, it's fun to put
just having Bryson out there against a European is going to be worth paying attention to, because he's going to make a show out of it.
Yeah.
I can't wait. It's going to be a good time.
He's going to be like, I know they have officially licensed, uniforms and all that. He's going to like 3D print the American flag on his golf clubs or something. He's going to go all out, like how the hockey guys wear they have the different painting on their helmet and stuff whenever they're playing for Team USA. He's going to be over the top. There's no doubt about it. I do like kind of going over the top, especially when it's a game day, and that's why I like to get my game day gear at Roback, RHOBACK.com. Promo code KSR, you're going to get 20% off your first purchase. They've got new game day polos, Kentucky gear. They've also got the best Q-zips, very comfortable shorts. It's shorts and Q-zip season in the morning. It's perfect. So make sure you've got the right gear at roback.com, RHOBACK.com, promo code KSR. Luckett, I also do the thing too where I like to just check the clearance rack on things they're selling out towards the end. Love the flamingo shirt I picked up recently from Roback. So check them out, roback.com, RHOBACK. For your first purchase, you get 20% off when you use promo code KSR. Mr. Luckett, you got any lingering thoughts about these old Rockets from Toledo? I know your scouting report that's got all the details will be dropping on KSR Plus tomorrow, correct?
Yeah, big deep dive will be out every Thursday game week, as always. I believe this is like 9th year doing this. So yeah, check that out on Thursday when it drops. It'll have like scheme breakdown, personnel, film cut ups, advanced stats, my keys to victory. And so I definitely advise checking that out. To me, Nick, I think again it goes back to I don't want to overcomplicate this matchup. If Kentucky does what they've told us they're better at, right?
Yeah.
Said the offensive line better. Like if they go out and play that way, they should win this game. I think pretty comfortably. But if they don't, I think they're going to be potentially ripe to get knocked off. But I think the game is kind of as simple as that. And one thing I do want to point out is that another reason, we talked about Jason Cano, why he's probably there. Like he was here like 9 years before he won a power conference game. And that happened last year, and he beat a 2-10 Mississippi State team. Now they totally smacked them. But they needed 6 overtimes to beat Pittsburgh in a bowl game. A Pittsburgh team that had lost, I think, 5 games in a row to that point, in a Pittsburgh team that was down to like their 3rd and 4th string quarterback. And they still almost lost to Pitt. And so, Toledo's a good team, a good program. These guys develop like pros. They're producing draft picks consistently right now.
Mm-hmm.
But they have lost these games in the past, even though I do have to say this, looks like they've covered 3 in a row against power conference foes. But then at the same token, Kentucky's been a cover machine in this matchup. And I really just think it comes down to, after everyone settles in, after that, everyone has the script opening drive, it settles down. It comes down to Kentucky. Can they run the ball and kind of impose their will and impose how they want to play a football game? If they do, I think they're going to be in good shape. If they don't, I think they could be in a little bit of trouble. And I'm very interested to see if they do get hit with some adversity early in this game, how they handle it.
Right. Because that's kind of been the name of the game of this offseason. They've been trying to build a team that can withstand some adversity. I mean, they certainly didn't do it a year ago. And they've tried to stress test them to do that. They've gotten older players to be able to figure that out.
And also, what is the temperature in the stadium if it's Toledo scores to go up 14-13 with a minute left in the second quarter?
Oh, it's going to be contentious, but that's where you want to see this team. Like I kind of wanted them to get punched in the mouth a little bit, because Ole Miss won't get punched in the mouth really that hard by Georgia Southern.
Georgia State, yeah.
State Southern, yeah. Isn't Georgia Southern the Panthers too?
Georgia Southern is the Eagles.
Eagles, okay. I spent some time there scrolling because somebody in the chat asked about anytime touchdown bets we might like.
I've got something.
Is Zach Calzada plus 135 pretty juicy to you?
Anytime touchdown?
Anytime.
Potentially. I don't know if they're
you
going
want
to
you want Dowdell first touchdown, don't you? Plus 475.
No, I think Chip Trainum is getting in the paint. I think Toledo's going to make a concerted effort to get him a touchdown. I noticed on some of the clips, Troy Stellato was getting some low red zone targets. A Troy Stellato, Chip Trainum, two-legger, you're going to get between 9 and 10 to 1, depending on your book.
The one I'm seeing is 8 to 1 anytime. So
yeah, they're already hedging. They know it's coming. They found out. They spammed my DMs this morning and found out that the syndicate is on it.
Interesting. All right. Well, you heard it here first, folks. How many total touchdowns are we thinking too, even in this game? Like, I think I saw Kentucky was at 3.5. That feels like a lot. Or does it?
Total's what, 48.5? You're looking at, based on the spread, you're looking at like a 28.5 to 20 final, like 28-20 final score. It's kind of what they're calling for. So, like, if you like the over, you should just play Kentucky team total over.
Yeah. Feels like a good move. Oh, man.
Yeah. So what's that? We got BetMGM up right here. Let's see what Kentucky team total over is. Great podcasting.
Yep, it is. I'm hitting the button right now. Oh, no. Load. Our internet. It's not working. Oh, gosh. This is great podcasting.
Toledo is 17.5. Kentucky is 28.
28.5, yeah. So, do a little dabbling. I feel like Kentucky's going to hit that magical number of 30. Thinking like 31-17, something like that.
Yeah, I think I'll be interesting because when Kentucky played this caliber of opponent last year, it's really when their passing game looked the best. Obviously. Southern Miss, and then the Ohio game, they had a really big, pretty good day throwing the football. Ran for over 200, passed for over 200.
Yeah.
So, again, I'd be interested to see just kind of how do they manage that passing game. Are they aggressive early, or do they try to hammer the rock early and then try to get the passing game going a little bit later on?
Oh, man. I'm fired up to get this ball rolling. It's going to happen this Saturday. Can't wait to see you all out there at Kroger Field. Luckett, I hope you're able to eat solids by the time we get to the press box. Good thing is coffee is not solid, so you can still drink your coffee.
That's right. I'd be in deep, you know what, if I didn't have that. Ain't no way. Ain't no way.
Been a lot of fun hanging out with y'all. We'll have a little pigskin preview tomorrow afternoon. Make sure you're subscribed to the KSR YouTube channel to get notifications every time we go live. He's Adam Luckett. I'm Nick Roush. Go Cats and go Kroger. Oh, God. We all speak, didn't we?
He's up here.
We're still live, though. I can't hit the turn it off button.
Hey, Peak, we're off. He's on it, I think.